Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second series. Good morning if you are in the States, good afternoon if you are in Europe, good evening if you are in Asia. My name is Lucia Giovannini, and I wake up every morning with the purpose to empower people through positive change so that they may create better lives for themselves and for all sentient beings that we are so interconnected with. And I'm also a transformational speaker and author of 13 books, including A Whole New Life, which is just launched in the US bookstores. In this inspirational New Life series, I will be chatting with inspiring men and women who have discovered how to harness the power of change and create a whole new life that is truly fulfilling and authentic to who they are. And my second guest on this series is Ajit Nawalkha. And Ajit is a fantastic man. He has successfully built numerous online brands for coaches, authors, speakers, and online educators. This includes co-founding EverCoach to help coaches reach their full potential that has impacted over 160,000 coaches, teachers, and educators, and writing numerous books, including Life Big, the entrepreneur's guide to passion, purpose, and practicality. But at one point in his life, Ajit felt broken. He had lost his relationship, he had lost his health, and he had walked away from the only source of income and recognition that he had. He had hit the lowest point in his life. The only thing he had left was his past experiences and his hope for the future. So in today's interview with Ajit, we are going to talk about how to rebuild a whole new life after hitting rock bottom. So we'll try to bring Ajit to the screen, otherwise you'll hear his voice. Because we had some problems with Facebook, with the Facebook connection. So welcome, Ajit. I'm so honored to have you here.
Hi, Lucia. I am very honored to be here as well. I am trying to comment as we go, so you should see a comment coming in from me. And hopefully Facebook does its magic and I'm allowed in. But I am...
Yes, I found your comment. And what am I... Let's see if I can... I found your comment here. Oh, okay. Pin comment. Okay. Let's see if I can.
Now you have to see if it says invite the guest, because that's what you're really hoping to do.
Actually, it says pin comment, like, or reply.
Well, it's not gonna let us do that. I don't know why, but ideally what it said on how to get on live voice. It will give a camera sign or something which will allow me to come online. But like you said, what we can do is everybody will be listening to my voice and you'll be watching me. So that's okay, yeah, I guess.
Exactly, at least. I mean, if you want to see how Ajit looks, you can see in his little picture there in his comment. So we've been knowing each other for quite some time, probably 10 years?
Yeah.
Back at Mind Valley, it was
quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. And I'm so excited to have you here, really. It was about...
I'm so excited to be here as well. I'm so excited for your book, and I'm excited to see how you've been creating change, not only in Italy, but you've expanded your reach and you're taking your message further and beyond what you could do and were doing already in Italy. I know there's so many Italians live right now on this. I can see it, and I know they all love you and appreciate you and have been influenced by your work beautifully there. So we are excited to have you finally translated into a language that we all can understand.
Thank you so much. So let's dive in, Ajit, and tell us about the moments in your life when you had a turning point, that you knew you were on the brink of a change in your life. What ignited that spark for you to go from rock bottom to your whole new life?
So the time that you were talking about, Lucia, and I know all of us go through different stages of life, and we probably hit rock bottom multiple times. If not rock bottom, at least we hit really trying times or really concerning times in our lives multiple times in our lives. This was the lowest moment for me because I didn't even understand why it was happening to me at the time in my life, or happening for me at the time in my life, because it was just one of those things where I was like, it seems like I should be okay and I should feel okay because I had a safe job. Like, it wasn't that I was getting fired or anything like that. I had a safe job, and from the life that I came from, which was I grew up in a very humble beginning in India. I grew up with the household in a household of 23 other people. Very, very humble beginnings, like lack of space, lack of money, all that type of stuff. But as I grew up, as I was growing up in that reality, I learned how to make money and be abundant. And I got the abundance. I was in a state of abundance at the time when I realized that as much as I was making money, I was a really unhappy person, which was, of course, impacting my life, my health, my relationship, and all of that good, all of that stuff. And so I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision of firstly saying, I could just settle for what life has to offer, because, like, life has to offer still what was happening, and I could have just stayed in that stage for all of my life, and it would have looked perfectly normal from the outside, or I could have changed something. And I think there was the internal need of saying, hey, we all can be better as human beings, and we can do greater things as human beings, kind of drove that behavior and got me to take some decisions in that direction, which got me to say, hey, I need to identify what is it that in my life that I have to first see that is not really okay, or what is what is the suffering coming from, where is this trauma coming from in my life. And I found the different areas of my life that you mentioned that were not doing as well. I was doing great in context of living my passion, in context of work, but not really everything else. So that got me to make some really tough decisions, and I really am grateful that I made those decisions in my life at the time. And that got me to a place to take the final decision of saying that as much as I love what I do, it's also one of the things that is hurting me the most, because it is, and it had nothing to do with the job itself, but the approach I had for the job. And as I lean into that, I had to make the decision to rediscover myself, to rediscover what I stand for, what I stand against, type of situation. I had to go, okay, what is it that I really, really want in life? And I guess that's the first step when you hit rock bottom, or when you hit a stage where you feel like you're at the rock bottom and nothing could go wrong, is to know that the first step to make that progress is to know where you want to go, or at least try to know where you want to go. And I think once you make that decision, that A, you will change your life, and B, you will find out what that new life looks like, and you're committed to finding it out, I think you can make progress towards it. As hard as it looks at the time, I think it's very, very identifiable and possible once you start making that progress.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ajit. And what happens, sadly, is lots of people just don't do that. Lots of people just, I don't know, we have this expression in Italian, I don't know if you have the same in English, but put the dust under the carpet, meaning
Yeah.
they hide the dust under the carpet, meaning they tell themselves, oh, everything is fine. Oh, I don't need to change anything in my life. Oh, I have a house. I have, my job and everything that pays my loan and everything. But are we really living, or are we just surviving? And at what level are we living? And another thing that I really think it's so important when we come to those decisions, because it's not easy, to leave behind your certainties, to make these changes. But one question that we always ask ourselves is, okay, what are the risks here? Okay, and of course, the risk in your case, the stakes were high because, I mean,
Everything.
yeah, everything. But the other question we definitely need to ask ourselves is, what is the risk of staying in this situation for my whole life? And obviously,
That's so good.
yeah,
That's so good. Yeah. That's so good. It's not only about asking what's the risk of the actions that I'll take, but what are the cost of inaction or the
Exactly.
risk of inaction, like you said. So that's a big one, and a lot of people don't consider that. You're right, and we don't make that progress just because we are like, oh, well, worst case scenario, I'll just be like this. But that's not true, right? It only gets worse and worse and worse, and it's not getting better if you're not trying to make it better. It's not going to just change itself.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get to the second question. And of course, in partially you've already given very interesting steps, but I know there is more.
Mm-hmm.
So we are celebrating a whole new life. What key
Mm-hmm.
steps do you have for people wanting to shift their life in some ways? And those ways may be coaches who want to be more successful, or people
Mm-hmm.
who want to change something in their relationship, in their work, so in
Mm-hmm.
several areas.
I think first, there of course steps might change slightly based on the particular situation the person is experiencing, but I think generally the first directive step is always to know that you're going to be okay. I think that's one thing that people also are scared of most and feel fear of most, is they feel like if they move or change direction, it's going to be end of it all.
Yes,
There is an inherent knowing that if, hopefully, if we can develop, that I think anybody that can make change or that does make change effectively has, is that they're going to be okay. And through life, we learn that we are going to be okay. There is nothing. We're going to be fine as human beings. We're going to be okay. We'll survive it. And so I think that's the first step, to really have that knowing that you're going to be okay.
yeah, I
I think that's
totally agree. Like the idea is really to trust the process of life. It may
yeah,
not get us immediately where we want to be, because maybe
yeah,
we need to learn some lessons on the way, you know.
yeah,
But I totally agree. To
absolutely.
feel that the universe is benevolent in some ways, you know, not
Yeah.
uh, or if we want to go higher, you know, that God or spirit or the divine, however we want to call him or her, is that the benevolent presence, and in some way it helps us to grow. Everything is conjures towards our evolution if we let it,
Mm.
of course.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautifully put there, Lucia. And I think that's one thing that we forget. And it's very hard to accept it. It's very hard to accept that it's going to be okay, because in the moment it feels like, oh, everything is ending. What do you mean by you're going to be okay? It doesn't look like I can have a whole new life, right? Because in the moment it feels like it's the end of the world. It's everything is crashing down. And even if it's not everything's crashing down, we always have that comparative of always thinking we have this chase of what our ideal life should look like, and we're never there. So it always feels like we're behind, and so it always feels like it's not okay. Where
Yeah.
else, if you really know the truth, if you have the knowing, you know it's going to be okay, and we are going to be okay till the time we keep doing the good work. Of course, we still have to do the work and so forth. It's not going to be okay just sitting there, but it will be okay. Secondly, I think it's the second step that I would recommend to anybody, is to create from a place of abundance, create from a place of saying, oh, what is it that I really want in my life? Again, one of those things that tend to happen is we create from our past, not from the place of possibility. We create by saying, oh, what is my past experiences, and based on that, what can I create in the future? Right? We don't really go, the possibilities of the future are unseen, unknown, unrevealed to me, so I can create whatever I want, instead of we always rely on the past. The challenge with the information of the past is always limited to our past, right? Like if I had the knowledge of a 23, it's almost like saying I'm only tapping into the intelligence of a 34-year-old while being 35. But
Yes.
that's not progress. That's me actually regressing. I'm using only the experience of a 34-year-old, versus saying, hey, the possibilities of a 45-year-old is tremendously greater, right? So why not lean into those possibilities instead of thinking about what's the past that has to offer me, right? And that's kind of the challenge that happens, is because we only know our past, we only tap into our past, instead of saying that the possibilities that are in the future are infinite. And so I can create whatever I want. I can create a whole new life the way I want my whole new life, and I don't have to limit myself to anything. And that is the second step, in my opinion, to really go, hey, I can create a new life, because that gives you, what is it that you're creating, instead of just saying, hey, I want to create something new. It's almost like telling somebody, when we say I want to create a new life but don't tell the universe what that new life looks like, it's almost like saying I want to go to another country but not telling which country you want to go, right? So it's like, yeah, you'll end up in a new country, but you might not like the country, so you might as well pick the country you want to go, right? So that's kind of, I think, is the second step to really creating a new life. And third is to do the work. I think it's just to really then go at it and say, hey, what is it that I got to do to keep making progress? At least these are like my three concise steps, if I have to say. I haven't done deep research and haven't done the deep research that you have done in this field, but from my understanding, this is what I would say would be the three simple things that anybody can consider right now.
Yeah, well, I totally agree, Ajit. I totally agree. They're simple, they're straight, and they're useful. And they're the base. I mean, being clear on where we want to go is the base. Otherwise, we won't even recognize that we've reached our goal, even if we reach them, because we didn't know we wanted to go there in the first place. So yeah, and definitely. And of course, sometimes we need to be flexible and dance with life, because sometimes life throws us, some challenges, and it's okay, because again, we learn from those challenges. So yeah, definitely. So if there was someone listening who is currently facing a low point in their life or feel like they've hit rock bottom, what would be the one message? And I know that the challenge is here is the one message you would like them to take away and carry with them for the rest of their lives.
Well, like you said, one message is hard, but I think the thing that I needed to know when I was at my rock bottom was that I will be okay, which is something that we have discussed previously in this conversation. Is because I think uh, that's the biggest fear when you are really you feel like everything is ended. Like, at least I felt everything is ended, and that there was no way I'm coming out of this, and this is the worst that can be. And like the whole dialogue that you have in your mind and you make up story around it was the story that I had. And so for me, it was important to know that I'll be fine, I'll figure this out, like I figured everything else out, like the potential that I have, irrespective of if I've ever figured anything else out, is that as a potential human being, I have the capability of figuring things out, and I'll figure them out. But just to have that knowing, I think, was key to me when it revealed to me, because it only happened once I had already experienced the worst that in my mind was the worst that was possible. It happened much after that. So there was a phase in the middle of like, okay, it's done. I'm done, right? I'm complete. There is nothing that is there that's gonna come out of this. And like, I did a very stupid thing. I didn't say I was stupid per se, but I've done a very stupid thing. I could have just stayed in what I was, that type of stuff. So it was hard, but once I was like, nope, I will be okay. I think I got tremendous sense of clarity towards what is it that I want, and then just compounded, and here I am.
Yeah, there's a metaphor also that I use, and I think it relates a lot to that, and is that life sometimes has to change our vase. The vase, like plants have vases.
Mm-hmm.
We are like plants in a way, and when a plant grows, in order to grow her roots, it needs to be, to be put in a new vase, in a bigger vase. But of course, that moment is a very, very, painful also for the plant, very, very delicate also for the plant, because also the plant suffers in that moment. But the difference between us and the plant, because I feel that also as humans, sometimes we need to let go of all situations, or life maybe will, push us if we don't take that decision. But the difference, so in order to find a new vase, but sometimes the new vase is not immediately there. So we spend, some maybe weeks or sometimes months or sometimes even years in that transition period, which is not easy. I totally agree. But as you said, and it is a fantastic piece of advice, the idea of knowing that there will be a vase for you, that's the only way to grow. And the difference between us and the plants and is that the plants don't get anxious. Oh, will I ever find a new vase? Oh, did I did something stupid? But they're just they trust the universe. And so yeah, I like very much your piece of advice.
Thank you very much.
So thanks, Ajit. It was such a pleasure to have you here. And of course, you find Ajit on EverCoach, fantastic program for coaches. Unfortunately, not yet in Italy, but who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
But in the US and in other countries, so I mean, worldwide for people who speak English, and in his website, Ajit Nawalkha. And if you are inspired by Ajit's story and would like to learn more about how you can raise from rock bottom and create a whole new life, click on the link below to order your copy of A Whole New Life. And tune in on March 7th, same time, here on my Facebook page, to catch my Facebook Live with Patricia Crane, author of Ordering from the Cosmic Kitchen and master trainer of Heal Your Life, based on Louise Hay philosophy. So we'll talk more about Louise Hay, affirmations, and so on and so forth. And join my Facebook group, A Whole New Life. If you want to watch the whole series anytime, we will post them there and it will be there for you to watch. So thank you again, Ajit.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. And I'm excited about your book. Congratulations on that. And guys, go ahead and check out The Whole New Life right now on the link somewhere here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Bye.